Okay everyone, we're back with a video on Gran Turismo Sport. It's been a while since we've been doing these videos. Obviously with the current situation going on, it's very hard for me to do videos. So I've been mainly doing a lot of streams recently. But this was our first round in the FIA Manufacturers Championship, driving at Suzuka in the Group 4 cars. Obviously myself driving for Renault. You see Josetti starting from pole position in the other Renault there. We had Fire in P2 in Toyota and B-Race in P3 in the Honda. So some very tough competition in the top three rows. You can see an Audi TT in P4, followed by myself in the next Megane in P5. An okay qualifying, again wasn't quite hooking the laps up, but still did a 205.7. We have another Audi TT driven by Tijani behind us as well, so that was a little bit of a worry, having an Audi TT in front and an Audi TT behind, because they're both very fast cars down the straights. The Megane isn't so fast, and I knew that the tyre wear was probably going to come into play and that we needed to get past that Audi TT, the blue one, as soon as possible in this race. So, starting the race, main aim to overtake the Audi TT as fast as possible. So, as many of you will know now, there has been numerous changes with Gran Turismo since we last did a video on this channel. So we now have a new qualifying structure with no fuel in it, so that has got rid of the fuel burning. However, it is still very much a slipstream qualifying. They have reduced the slipstream strength, but it is still not enough. In my personal opinion, it needs to go a little bit lower in terms of the distance. It's still at 1.5 seconds, and in Group 4 races it is definitely still an issue. I don't think it'll be as much of an issue in Group 3 and other classes of cars, but in Group 4 it is very much still slipstream qualifying, with people searching for that slipstream, as you see now. Starting the race in P5, and like I say, the main aim is to try and get past that Audi TT. I wasn't sure on what tyres people would be starting on. I could tell straight away that Tijani behind us clearly was not on the soft tyre, because he's losing a lot of time through the corners. We're gaining a lot of time at the moment through these corners. You can see that Audi TT struggling a little bit through the corners. Josetti out of the front, pushing the field, and everyone getting the slipstream from him. We decided to try and go for a little move here on the inside, a little nudge there, tried where we squeeze our way through, but decided to back out of that one. Wasn't worth going for that position there. Would have only ended up in disaster. So yeah, putting the pressure on straight away to the Audi TT, trying to make our way past. As you see, again looking to the right hand side, I was thinking of doing a dummy there and then throwing it up the left hand side, but you can see the acceleration on the Audi TT a little bit too strong, not able to really put my car in a position to go for a dive into that corner. So decided to play it safe. We're in P5, we're in a solid position here, there's no point throwing it away on lap 1. So again, just getting back into that slipstream, and you can see it really is still quite strong. The fact that the Megane isn't losing that much time to an Audi TT that has already got a slipstream to a car in front of it shows you that yes, they have made improvements. It is weaker than it used to be. I think in other classes of car it is definitely going to be better, but in Group 4 it's still a bit of a problem, as we get a massive exit from that corner. You can see the extra grip that the Megane has through the corners, and this is one of the reasons why I decided to go Megane and Renault in general for the Group 4 car. I love driving this Renault Megane. It's one of my favourite cars within Group 4. Unfortunately, the Group 3 car isn't the best, but what we're doing for these rounds is I'm deciding to, at the moment, play a lot of different games. As the Audi TT makes a mistake into the chicane, we're going to take advantage of that, nicely position the car, and made our way up into P4. But unfortunately, you can see the problem we've got now is we've got the gap at 1.9 seconds, 2 seconds to the lead, to the group in front. You can see they're gaining and gaining down the straight when they're in the slipstream and we're not. So unfortunately it's going to be pretty much impossible to get into that slipstream train, but at least we've got past that Audi TT that is probably going to suffer with tyres and just doesn't have the cornering ability that we have in the Megane. And like I'm saying, yeah, at the moment with the Renault we're deciding to not do every round in Group 3. I'm just going to do the rounds where I think the car's going to be competitive. And on the rounds where the car isn't going to be competitive, instead of just getting all wound up with the car being rubbish, we're going to play over games like iRacing. Yesterday I didn't like the track for Nations. I despise that track. People will know that from watching the channel. So we went on iRacing and had some very, very good races, thoroughly enjoyable races on iRacing. So that is what we're going to be doing along with the set of course there. So we're going to try and keep ourselves in the top split pretty much on all games, so maintaining a high level of GT Sport, iRacing and Assetto Corsa. So that is the aim of what I'm trying to do at the moment. But yeah, whenever it's a combination I like on GT, I will 100% be doing that round. But like I say, for the Red Bull Ring, I think again in the Manufacturer series, I don't think the Renault is particularly strong there, so we'll probably be leaving that one out and having to go on Assetto Corsa for a change. It's a nice bit of variety. It's breaking the games up a bit, and it's actually making me enjoy when I get back on GT Sport the game a lot more. I really did enjoy this round. It was really enjoyable driving the Megane round here, and you can see through the corners we weren't really losing that much pace to the cars up front, but as soon as we get on the straight, you can see what happens. You see B-Racer in that slipstream and just watch that delta increase and increase and increase. So not too much I can do at this phase. You can see we've nearly broke the slipstream to the Audi TT behind us, but just look how fast that Audi TT is down the straight, and this is why I needed to get past it, because if his tyres started to die and we were stuck behind that car, I don't think the Megane would have been able to get anywhere. As we see up ahead, we've got a penalty. I think that is PR1 fire with the penalty there. I'm not sure what actually has happened there, whether there's been contact between himself, Rossetti, or B-Racer or whatever it is, but it looks like a 2-second penalty as well. So we're going to fast forward the action on this lap, skip through to the penalty zone to see where we're going to, where are we going to come out in this? Is it going to be very close to PR1 fire? My guess is it could be very, very close. As you see, we're going to come through Spoon Corner now, and we're going to start playing it just on the exit of Spoon Corner now. As we see PR1 fire there, it's taking the penalty, and you can see he's lost a lot of time. You really do suffer on that penalty zone. And just look at this. Are we going to be able to go around the outside of PR1 fire? He's going to go defensive on the left hand side. We might be able to hang this around the outside. We're going to skip to the replay camera, trying to hang the Megane all the way around the outside, all over the curbs there, just about kept it on track, nearly losing control. Now we're going side by side into the final chicane. We're going to have to try and take a tight line there. Fire holds that position and keeps himself in P3, and we're right up behind. But what you can see has happened here is that Audi TT has got right behind us. You can see the Fire going defensive. I started to flash him and take my car to left because I just wanted to get in the slipstream to defend against the Audi TT, because what we did not want at this point was that Audi TT that is getting closer and closer and closer behind us to get himself past us, as that would be probably a much worse situation than where it wasn't worth risking going for anything silly with Fire there. We better off getting his slipstream and defending against the Audi TT, because if that Audi TT got past both of us, it could ruin our races massively. But luckily, you can see that we both got ahead, and now Fire is going to be pushing like crazy, and that's good for me. I'm in his slipstream still. We're in the Megane that can definitely stay with it, with the Toyota on this track. Toyota is also very strong around there, but the Megane also a strong car, so we'll definitely be able to sit in his slipstream and hope that he can drag us around, and hope that he can also pull us away from that Audi TT that is back in the slipstream. But you can see straight away the Audi TT does seem to be suffering. We're on lap 4. The tyres will start probably kicking a little bit for the Audi TT on lap 4 on the softs. You can see the Megane still no issue really, or we have got tyre wear, but we had our brake bias. I think we were running at 2 or 3 to the rear, probably 2 to the rear I think it was, and it was giving us a nice balance around this track. It was giving us still the traction on the rear, it was giving us the grip on the front, so it was creating quite a balanced car, and the car was actually driving really well. So we're now in Fire's slipstream. All we've got to do really is sit in this slipstream for as long as possible, as we see going through this long Spoon Corner, and you can see that's the Audi TT behind us does look like he's dropped out of the slipstream now. Obviously down the straights that car is going to be mega. You can see even though we've got the slipstream to Fire, you can see that that Audi TT is actually gaining on us down the straights, even though we got that really good exit from the corner. But that shows you the strength of the Audi TT. That's where that car makes up most of its time on this track, is down the straights. It does suffer through the corners obviously, and on some of the traction zones, but now into the final chicane, and again the Megane really strong for their Fire pushing to the limits there. You can see almost losing control of that Toyota going through the final chicane, but just about managing to hold on as we now push on through to another lap. We're going to fast forward the action now for a few laps where we're just sitting behind Fire. And this was the aim really for these few laps before the pit stop, was to sit behind him, try and look after our tyres a little bit, don't overdrive the car, just use that slipstream, and then hope that that Toyota may start struggling with the tyres before the Megane. My theory was that in reality that Toyota should go a lap earlier really, so I was expecting Fire to maybe pit 1 lap before the Megane. We've obviously got Rossetti in the lead, and B-Racer probably in that Honda might have to pit a lap even earlier than that, because the Honda, although very balanced on tyres, doesn't actually have the full all-round ability in terms of keeping the tyres in good condition. I would think that the order it is the Megane is definitely better than the Toyota by maybe a lap here, and then you had the Honda that was probably 2 laps shorter than the Megane for running them soft tyres in terms of keeping the lap times alive. It could probably run more, but the lap times would start to die and the mediums would take over. You had to hit that point where the medium tyre was going to be faster than the soft tyre. I thought it was around lap 9 or 10 for the Megane. It depends how good your obviously lap 9 or 10 was, but the Megane could definitely go at least 9 laps solid on the soft tyre with this tyre ratio that was running in this race. I think it was only timed 4. It was an interesting race. It was quite a long race for Group 4, 14 laps, so that's why we're fast forwarding this section. You can see there wasn't much going on. It was just us following behind FIA in the slipstream. We've got quite a big gap now to the cars behind. You can see where we've managed to increase the gap, and you can see now we're going to skip through to the start of lap 8, and you can see now that FIA's starting to suffer a little bit. It looks like he's getting a little bit of understeer. Now obviously the Toyota 86, very good on tyres, but it is an FR car, so it does start losing a little bit of grip on them front tyres compared to the Megane, so we might start being able to put him under some pressure on this lap. And you can see B-Racer into the pits there for the medium tyres. He's gone for that stop at the end of lap 7 like I predicted, and I did think that would happen during the race. He was going to go that 1 lap earlier than FIA, and then it was probably going to be Josetti and myself going to lap 9 and extending for an extra lap. But you can see FIA really pushing that Toyota, but you can see the understeer that he's getting through the corners. The Megane, just a little bit extra grip, able to take a smoother line, a more progressive line. FIA's having to really chuck the car in to get that Toyota to rotate, and you can definitely see that he was starting to struggle with the tyres on this lap, maybe a little bit more so than what the Megane was. But that is expected. The Megane is a better car for tyre wear than the Toyota is. But you can see obviously a very unlucky situation for FIA with that penalty as he goes wide through there, almost losing control of the Toyota, just about gets it back on track, and now he's going to have dirty tyres where we go through the corner. You can see he's going to have a little bit of an issue getting on the power. You can see that taking effect there where the Megane, obviously we didn't run wide, so we've got clean tyres, and we just don't have the pace to go around the outside of this corner, so we're just going to hang it around the outside and then just tuck back in. He will have cleaned his tyres up by now as we have a little look on that replay camera again, and you can see we just doesn't have the grunt, the Megane, to really go for a move. We had a little look up the inside there, but again, there's no point risking it there. It would have probably ended up in disaster through the spoon corner, and now we're going to get the slipstream going down the main straight, and again you can see the Megane getting in the slipstream. Is it going to be able to go for a move? We've got the slipstream, but I decided there's no point fighting. At this point we've got to be careful of other cars on different strategies to make it, because if some cars have started on mediums, it's important that we don't fight here. We've got to take advantage and keep it as fast as possible, because there'll be cars coming through towards the end of the race that would have started on mediums or hard tyres that could become a factor. So I decided to back out of that. FIA's going to pit now anyway, so there's no point battling too much anyway. You can see FIA off into the pits. We're going to go for one more lap on these soft tyres. That will give us obviously a lap fresh at mediums as well when we get them on. So the aim now is to keep this lap nice and clean and try and not make too many mistakes, because we've got to try and come back out and be close to where FIA is. Obviously it's going to be very, very close. Obviously we've got very, very worn tyres on at this stage race. FIA's going to have fresh mediums on. We're fast forwarding this lap as we skip towards the end before the pit stop phase. And where will we actually come out is really important. If we can come out back into FIA's slipstream, this should be pretty good. It'll work out quite nicely as you see into the braking zone, trying to clip that apex and then onto the apex of the second chicane, bouncing over the curb there. Josetti's into the pits, we're into the pits, and where will we come out once we get these medium tyres on? So there's the first stint done, the longest stint in the race on the soft tyres. That is complete, and now we go to the Megane in the mediums, which will go all the way to lap 13 and then just do one lap on the hards. That was a way that most people were running just 1 or 2 laps on the hards, and obviously for the Megane it was only 1 lap. And we see there just coming out side by side with FIA goes through turn 1, and we're nicely slotting back into that slipstream. So it was a solid out lap, it was a solid in lap for ourselves with the soft tyre, able to make sure that we didn't get massive loss of time to FIA. We pretty much matched his out lap to our in lap, so pretty decent lap by ourselves there, probably a decent lap by FIA as well on the medium tyres. And now we've just got to try and put some solid laps in. You can see that Williams Koke behind us is gaining a bit, so maybe he's on the medium tyre, or actually it's quite hard to tell whether he might be on the mediums at this stage or he could be on the softs. I'm not too sure how this is playing out at the moment during the race. It's so hard to work out with so many tyres that are required. You have to use the soft, mediums and hards, and with different types of cars behind you. Obviously the BMW not so good on tyres compared to other cars. It's hard to work out what tyres some cars are on at what stage of the race. Looking at the Delta, the way it's staying pretty much at 4.4 and it's dropping down ever so slightly every now and then. My guess is that he might be on slightly worn softs or even fresh softs. I don't know, because I don't think the BMW was quite as fast as the Toyota or the Megane around this track. So it's really interesting, what sort of tyres was he actually on at this stage. He could have been on soft tyres. We'll check that out when we get through to the pit stop phase. It'd be interesting. It looks like he's gaining through the corners, so my guess is that with that gain through the corners, he's on soft tyres now. He's probably done a medium stint on the first thing, quite a long medium stint, and then put soft tyres on, and that is why he's gaining. So we need to keep this very much clean and tidy to the end. We do not want to lose time in this second stint, because Williams-Coquet could become an issue towards the end of the race. We don't know whether he's done his hard stint. We have no idea what sort of strategies people are doing at this stage, and that is why I quite enjoy these races where the tyre wear wasn't too high, so it actually brought into effect that even FF cars could do well. We had in the first race, I think it was a Scirocco that got a podium, so it shows that these settings are kind of working in Group 3. In Group 4, I think that the slipstream does need a little bit altering back down to 1 second. I think if the slipstream was as strong as it is now, but it lost all your, if you lost the slipstream at 1 second, I think it could be perfect. But it's definitely big improvements they've made on the game. It's just a shame that there does seem to be some broken cars at the moment with the new tyre model. It is slightly different. There is a slight change in the way the car's handling. I think the Alpha 4C now is a little bit broken. It's a little bit overpowered. It dominated Nations race that I saw yesterday. Every single driver was in it in top split, whereas that track used to be a mixture mainly of Megane's Alphas and Toyota 86. Now it's just all Alpha 4C, and I think at this track as well, in the manufacturer race, the Alpha 4C was just so strong. It was very hard to compete with them. So yeah, maybe they need to just do some slight changes to that car. Not massive changes, so a little change just to bring it back in line with the rest of the cars. Obviously, it's got a lot more pace down the straights now as well, that 4C, so that might be where the issue is coming from, whereas the Megane is very, very strong, don't get me wrong, at the majority of handling tracks, but put this car on a power track and it's not going to do very well with the current slipstream, is my guess. As we now skip forward, now fast forwarding these last few laps, again just sitting in the slipstream to fire, trying to maintain consistency, trying to look at the gap. You can see the gap to Williams-Coquet constantly decreasing, so he's definitely on them soft tyres at this stage of the race to be able to gain that time. And obviously what will happen is, though, that time will start to level off because the BMW isn't quite so good on the tyres compared to the Toyota and the Megane. So you can see that the gap is stabilising around 3 seconds now. So it looks like the mediums on our cars, on my car and Fire's car, is actually starting to get to the point where it's probably equal, if not maybe slightly faster than the tyres that is on Williams-Coquet's car. As we now see, we're on the final lap of these medium tyres. You can see just trying to keep it nice and consistent. You can see that gap has really come down to Williams-Coquet behind us there, where he's obviously pushing and pushing and pushing in the BMW. We're obviously pushing with the medium tyres, but his tyres are probably getting to the point where they've had enough now in terms of what sort of grip they can give him. But now we're all going to be pitting for a fresh set of hard tyres, is my guess. Let's have a little look as we get through to the pit stop phase, what sort of tyres everyone will be going on. As we see Williams-Coquet around 3 seconds behind us. It looks like them tyres have started to die. Everyone at the front obviously on the medium tyres. Let's see what tyres Williams-Coquet was on as we go into the pits. Yeah, he was on the soft tyres, so as predicted, we're all going to go onto the hard tyres now. There will be some runners that will be coming through that have done all their stops and will be on very, very worn tyres. So let's have a little look as we come out the pits. We're still in P4 position. You can see that we've got Tidjany that's been overtaken by, I think in the pit stop phase there, Tidjany obviously done all his stops, but it looks like Williams-Coquet has managed to stay out ahead. So yeah, Williams-Coquet looks like he's going to finish this race in P5. My guess was that Tidjany at this stage of the race was on completely battered soft tyres in the Audi TT, because obviously the Audi TT did kill the tyres a lot faster than the other cars, even more faster than cars like the Scirocco. I think the Scirocco was actually one of the better FF cars on tyre wears, so it was able to get quite a solid result here. But the Audi TT was still able to be competitive, and I think that is a big improvement to the game, that with these settings certain cars are still able to compete, and that is a good thing. If you can at least compete, then you can try and pick up a lucky result or try and get lucky somewhere, and that's the main aim. And that is quite a big change to the game that I kind of like, that, you know, FF cars with this type of settings were at least able to compete and battle for, you know, some sort of position out of the race. As we see now, 1 lap to go, we're on this final lap now. following behind fire with the hard tyres, just taking it nice and easy. We're not going to be able to go for any sort of move, we're too far back, so we're going to just probably take a P4 in this race. And with the big gaps between races, because this was a weekend race, there was I think it was over 2 hours before the next manufacturer race. We had already done Nations race and got a solid result in that, so we will be uploading the Nations race hopefully in the next few days as well. I'm going to try and keep these videos at least one every 2 days, along with streams every day. That is going to be the aim from now on. I can't guarantee it every day, or depending on what's going on with family in the house and doing stuff, but the aim will be to try and get one, at least one, or between one update every 2 days, or 3 or 4 videos a week. That'll be kind of the aim as we go through to the final corner. And we've come home with a solid P4. I would have wanted a podium really at this track, but looking at the competition and the quality of drivers in this race, to get a P4, it's pretty okay, and we came away with fairly okay points. And like I say, I think we could have battled for a top 2 position looking at the final race that actually took place in terms of the finishing time. But like I say, the final race was 2 hours away. We'd already been streaming for 8 hours at this point of the race, and I could not be bothered really to wait around for another 2 hours for another race, so I decided to call it a night, take the points. This season, although it is official, it's not actually got much meaning to it, so I just decided to take 316 points and move on. It was a solid result, that's all we needed. And obviously with the current DR increase, we actually boosted our driver rating up to, I think it was nearly 77k now, which is another big improvement they've made on the game. So hopefully once everyone's DR settles down, this is going to be big changes for Gran Turismo in terms of the points for top split. But anyway, hope you enjoyed that video. I thoroughly enjoyed the race. Make sure you check our channel for more videos in the future, and make sure you check our live streams that go live nearly every day. So if you haven't already subscribed, hit that subscription button, and make sure you hit the notification button so you don't miss any future videos. Thanks again for watching, everyone.